no decision that you make is neutral. It's either going to move you closer to where you want to go, or it's going to move you farther away from where you want to go. Like, at the end of the day, like that, like we're good people. And at the end of the day, you could basically trust us. And, culturally, your whole franchise organization has to buy into that. And so, these are like, all of these are the types of things that I think like when you're meeting somebody in a networking situation, and you might have been asking a question that was more tactical.
No, this is it, because people, we talk about networking, and I've always known the importance of networking, but I've seen how powerful it is just in the past year since my exit, as I've been intentional with getting in like relationships with you, more development with Tommy, Joe Polish, these guys, with just the doors that are opened. And so then we go talk about it, and they're like, well, that's easy for you. You have the credibility that you just sold your company for a lot of money. And it's like, no, I think you do too, but how do you break it down? And so what you're talking about is so relevant for those people. One, it's showing up and just like putting yourself out there, which, Evan smiled when you said you're an introvert. And it's like, to a point, I am too. And that's why I love Jason. Like, dude, if I'm scared about having a conversation, I bring my buddy Jason here. And not that I was scared for this, but he's just like, he's that guy that's out there that's really doing a lot and knows how to put himself out there. But you got guys like Evan and myself that are shy to go out. Evan's worked a long day. Last thing he wants to do is go to a dinner that night and try and like mix and mingle with people. Yeah. But the point is, like, everyone can get out there, and it's so important to get in that room and start that conversation. How important for you is it to make contact after you meet someone? Some of the best networking people that I know, like, we'll send them a gift. Well, it's trying to stay top of mind, because they met probably 20 people that night as well. You laugh.
Yeah, because my question for you, when I saw that you were going to ask that question, I'm like, how was my follow-up with you? Not good.
But I stayed on you in a way of like,
because he's chasing you. You're not chasing him.
Yeah, you're not chasing me. I'm chasing you, man. But so go ahead. Like, what is it important? Like, I'm not saying go buy people's love or the gifts, but I think it's important if they met 20 people that night. Yeah, you might have had this great connection, asked them deep questions, but are they really remembering you?
Look, I was thinking what you said earlier. These are the 6 things. Like, I mean, if you want to, like, I'm not great at it, and I do my best, but like, you send somebody a picture, if you took a picture with them, send them a picture, just a quick little text, thank you. Think about it. These little, like, if you send somebody something that's polished and long and all this stuff, friends don't send friends that kind of thing.
Right.
Now you're in their sales funnel, and they can feel what that feels like. That's not how friendships work.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking I had such a good time with you out there, and I was thinking, oh man.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh man, not this guy.
Right. It's like, okay, well, now I'm feeling myself be moved. Look, how you make people feel is how they're going to feel about you. And, your reputation is just simply your relationship with people that you haven't met yet. Yeah. And like, it needs to do the work. Like, it needs to do the work out in front of you. Mm-hmm. And if you help enough people, and you're open and you're available, then, that's probably the best networking. But then, like, you got to answer the call, right?
Now, there's a couple of things that your son modeled that I like. Is the first thing is, it feels like he asked himself, consciously or subconsciously, what is it like for this guy at Boeing who's doing the recruiting? Yeah. And he connected with them because he asked himself, what would I want if I was in this guy's shoes? And nobody wants a 3-paragraph sales pitch as a follow-up. But like, everyone wants to be seen as human. Everyone wants to be like, bro, how's your day going? Like, and the guy's like, he could hear that your son meant it. Yeah. And so, like, I think your son did a good job of putting himself in that other person's shoes. And the other thing that I like that your son did is, I think your son identified to this person, signaled to this person, I should say, that even though they're in different stages in their career, they're the same tribe. Yeah. Like, your son's 21 and this guy's 50. So this guy's got all this great success, has your son's dream job. But your son is that guy. He just happens to be 21 and not 50. So it's like, hey, we have value alignment. You just happen to be far down the road and I'm early on the road. But if I look at somebody, I'm not interested in the success they've had. I'm more like, is this guy my vibe? And so your son didn't be like, well, actually, I made 10 grand selling lemonade last summer. I'm pretty cool too. It's like, he didn't try to like be on his level with like accomplishments. He just sort of acted like a person who that guy would vibe with. And then just was comfortable with the fact that this guy's here and I'm here. But I think there's just sort of a value. Like, your son just demonstrated a couple of things there that I think are like key principles that I kind of want to pull out and say, I think these are 2 of the reasons why this worked for your son. Yeah. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but like, that's sort of what I'm observing as I listen to you talk about.
No, I 100% agree.
Cool.
Did you have something? I was going to move on to something I mentioned. Go ahead.
No, I'm taking all the information in, but I
Like
feel
an introvert. You're doing a great job.
where I struggle building off like the idea of soft, right, which is you got the high satisfaction, your people are happy, and where I struggle in the networking department is like I just go all out for everyone, and I always tell Cameron, I'm like, I'll try to follow your zero inbox rule. I'll message everyone back, but like my issue is they text right back and they keep going. So I don't know how
I'm like, I know how to shut people off real quick.
I just like, so they ask questions, I'll give them the responses, but I don't know how to separate this idea in principle that, you're the average of the, 5 people you're around the most, but also giving to people at high volumes, because I think networking is a really big thing right now on social media. So Cameron's big on social media. I'm not, but I'm still getting like 5 to 10 DMs per day. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to all right, I'm going to message people. And then they message back and they're like, what's your cell phone? I just don't know how to draw that line in the sand of because to me, I like the idea that every no is a vote in the direction of a bigger yes that I had in a prior commitment to make Coconut what it needs to be. And so I do struggle with the idea of giving to people and trying to add value to their life when they keep coming back for more. And I don't know how to quantify that yet, and I don't know how to draw the line in the sand.
Yeah, I mean, so is it a transactional thing where they're interested in a franchise, or is it a thing where they're reaching out for something else?
Not franchising. I would say it's more like I have a small business. Here's where I struggle. I look up to you guys. What would you do here? And I'm like, hey, here's some quick tips, tricks. Cool. And then, in regard to, hiring, I'm like, okay, all right. And then you have your franchisees, and then you
just need to put the mastermind thing in there, right? I mean, at some point, you just kind of you gotta refer them out or something like that, or unless you think there's something in it for you. But, at the end of the day, people make good use of assistance for things like that. And if you've got a huge volume of things coming in, you've got to really protect yourself,
right,
time wise.
In your book, Jeff, you talk about building a network of, trusted advisors. When not all connections. I'm big on brand, and I want to talk about protecting your brand and franchising too. But not all, I feel like you need to be intentional with who you kind of connect with. And so when you talked about that in the book, how important is it to make sure you're intentional with the people that you do network with and have that advisor role?
Do you mean whether you give them time or not time?
More so it's okay, hey, Evan, you wanted to connect with Jeff. Why? Well, because Jeff's huge in the franchising world and I love what he puts out. Okay, cool. That would make sense for us. But going and doing it with someone that maybe doesn't align with the way that we do business, or making sure that we aren't really connecting. Maybe this guy lives a different lifestyle than we do. Let's say
Sure.
He parties and does drugs, and that's I guess there's
Not
nothing
what
wrong
you
with
do.
that, but that's not what we do. How important is it to make sure you're seen with the people that you are networking with? How important is it to be seen? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but you talk about it in the book of making sure that you're taking advice from the people that are leading you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And so it's more of just how have you decided, hey, these are going to be advisors to me and these are going to be good connections, but I'm not really going down that path with them.
Yeah. So first of all, there's a personal set of values. That is your first filter for everything. Your values will break the ties. This is a deal breaker for this relationship right here.
Mm-hmm.
Or your values break the ties if you've got an employee, your top salesperson, but they offend your respect value because they're jerks to everybody. You've got to, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk with your values. Great salespeople are, they don't do a lot of paperwork. I mean, they're
The diva wide receivers.
Yeah,
They cut those people. I guess so. It's okay, you have this salesman that's an amazing guy, a great network, but he's off doing things that you don't agree with, but he brings in a lot of sales. Are you saying, hey, I'm out? Or it's kind of manage that. I don't know, you talked about it in the book, and so I wanted to bring it up of how intentional you really are, and more so advice for people that are listening. It's hey, go network with everyone, but the people that you actually listen to and you keep within that circle, like like you got to be really intentional.
Yeah, I think, you know, it may depend. Now, if you're talking about like somebody that I personally want to get in relationship with, that I think's gonna that I think that I can add value to, that I just like hanging out with, that I have a good time with. Look, I like funny people. You know what I mean? Like, I like to laugh. I like people that, are, I tend to get along with people that like to have, kind of a good, clean time and, see the world. They got that eye out there, that they're creatives. I get along with creatives really good, and stuff like that. So, you're naturally drawn sometimes to a certain type of person. And there's a huge fish right there. I don't know what you got. But,
We'll catch it after.
yeah.
This guy's good.
That guy's taking a nap.
Well,
right there.
yeah, that guy should eat that guy.
Are you getting wrecked by these flies or no?
No,
I'm not. Cool.
Just,
Just cool.
Cool.
He took a chunk of skin earlier.
but then it comes down to like, okay, I mean, it really comes down to what the business is. So, our advisory on our Homefront Brands platform, I mean, I know that I need great finance chops. So when I engage with somebody, it's got to be somebody I trust, somebody I like their work style, I like their pace, I like their standards, I like them. Now, if it wasn't for this business relationship, we're probably not going to see each other every other week and go out to dinner and stuff like that, because they're kind of in their world, I'm in my world, but like that's a great relationship because we have a shared goal that we're trying to accomplish right here inside of that. So
it almost seems like you have a higher standard for relationships than you have for transactions. Like, yeah, I transact with all sorts of people, but like the people that don't share my values, we can transact, we can do something, but like relationship seems like you have a higher standard for.
Yeah, you should like people you do business with, or you should like people that are in your inner circle, and you should certainly respect them.
Yeah.
And, and I respect all types of people, but like if people lie, or they steal, or they're lazy, or they're sloppy, or they make a bunch of mistakes and they don't really have high standards, then they probably don't need to be in your inner circle because, I went deep I got COVID in December, and I went
just
deep,
like a few months, 8 months ago.
Yeah, man, for like 3 weeks I was down, and I went so deep into David Goggins. And both books, all the podcasts, but he kept saying the same thing and the same thing, and I finally got it. I finally got like what he was saying.
800th F word, you're like, now I get it.
I was probably a little delirious, whatever. But like at the end of the day, it was really a comment around standards, and like, what are your standards? What are your standards in the face of no goal or no consequences?
Wow, what a question.
What are your standards in the face? I'm training for a marathon. Well, how hard would you train if you weren't running a marathon? I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do this, or I'm going to lose money if I don't do this. Would you do it that well, with that excellence, with that intensity anyway?
That's the difference between a strategy and a principle. If you're just doing it to get in shape or doing it to land the account, you don't actually live that value. You don't mean that value. If you live it night, day, in any circumstance, it's a principle. That's wild. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, the old adage of you are who you are when nobody's looking. Like, okay, it's a Saturday morning. I woke up early, sun's up. I'm sitting on the lake. It's beautiful. Am I TikToking for 2 hours, or am I going to do something? What would David Goggins do right now?
I wonder how often
he'd run across the water.
He'd be jumping in the cold pool. And
I wonder how often I think I have a principle when really I have a strategy. Well, I don't swear. Unless Jeff swears, then I swear. It's like, oh, that's a strategy, not a principle. Like, what are my principles? I need to go take a rigorous moral inventory of myself and figure out what's really the things I live by because I live by them, and what things are just useful in this setting that I'm normally in. It's a deep question.
So when you let people in, and you're really, what are people's standards inside of their area of expertise? Because your company should have diversity in everything: skill set, age, race, viewpoints, all of this, because it takes this diverse set of teams, right, of everything. But you just can't have diversity in values. And if we agree that these are the values and these are the standards, and this is how we roll as this group, then at work, that's what we do when we're here. Yeah. That's how we roll. So making sure that you are values aligned, like, would this person act similarly to me in my absence as they would in my presence? Like, they're faced with a tough decision. Something drastic happens, somebody like a medical emergency. Like, how are these people going to react?
Right.
Like under stress, who are people really? I tend to gravitate towards people, higher performers, people that can perform under stress, people that have done some things. I'm telling you, the best people I work with are people that like started with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like have overcome these, I'm filled around with a group of people that like, I mean, I'm not going to say I faced great life challenges, but it was, I didn't have anything handed to me. Let me put it that way. So, but that's, that's when you talk about, those are some of the things with trusted advisors and people that I really want to go through life with.
Yeah, I just, I guess I always land on intentionality because, again, you are who you hang around. And if people are listening to this podcast, like, okay, they're saying go network. We're not saying go network with everyone. Like, understand who you are and who you want to be around, because those people that you bring in the business and you're talking to, like, they can influence you to change or go against your core values or whatever. And I think that's why a lot of companies, I laugh, like when they start a business, like their goal is to be the best and they're going to do all these things to be the best. And then what happens 3 years later is that like being the best requires, a little bit extra, payroll or extra cogs, whatever it might be. And so then they start to sacrifice what they know is the best. Shorter, in our scenario in the service world, it's like shorter service time, a lesser amount of product, maybe cheaper uniforms, like all the little things. And now they just become like everyone else. Yeah. And I think that's the difference between people that achieve like this high level of success are the ones that stay true, like we're talking about, to who they are. But it's being very intentional with like, who am I going to surround myself with? Who am I trying to network with? And like, who are those principles? Am I going to go do the ice bath in the morning, or am I going to go scroll on TikTok or whatever it might be? So, before we get into franchise, like, is there anything else on networking?
I've got one more point I'd like to make. So,
I don't know. I think people complicate the networking more than it has to be. Yeah. But dude, you just got to.
Or they misidentify what the most important part of it is, because like shaking some guy's hand doesn't mean that guy wants to do anything, have anything to do with you. It's kind of who you're being is such an underrated part of it.
Like, hey, that's not Sandler. Different.
That Sandler Sales Institute talks about third party, where it's like so much credible if I go, dude, my buddy Cam, he's such a good guy, he's so legit. Yeah. But if I go up to, like, if I'm trying to meet a girl, but I'm like, it's really cool. Me. This guy, like, it just lands so different. So like, having some strategy where you can have a buddy have your back, or have some, like, one of the things I did is like, I figure out who my target market is. I want to market insurance agents, and I don't go market insurance agents. I find out who in my world already has great relationships with insurance agents. Okay, well, insurance agents send work to body shops, and they send work to restoration companies, and they send work to independent insurance agents who write business insurance that the captives can't write. Great. Well, if I can just befriend one of those guys and they think I'm a good guy, they can go talk to 100 of my target clients and say, hey, I vetted this guy. You know me. You know I'm a good guy. Right. I vouch for this guy. And it's like having some sort of Trojan horse third-party way to get some credibility from me has been so much easier than going direct to Jeff. It's like, if you and I are buds and you can tell Jeff, you can vouch for me, like, Jeff's going to be nice to me because you vouch for me. So I always feel like
that's a good point.
It's easier to find somebody else in his life and say, hey, let's get to know each other. And who can I introduce you to, and who can you introduce me to back? Somehow, like, that 1 degree of separation allows you to have some third-party credibility and maybe get into
that's exactly how we met Jeff. It's like,
there you go.
Relationships with Tommy, text Tommy, he puts us on a group message, we're at dinner, and, so.
And you guys are awesome, but if you cold email him or DM on Instagram, it happens totally differently. 3 months that's nothing to do with the fact that you're the same guy, but it's just like, what kind of access?
Yeah, it might have. I mean, I don't know what my reaction would have been, or if I would have even seen it. Yeah. One thing to watch out for. Yeah. I've made this mistake a lot. Don't overlook the person you're talking to in favor of somebody else. You walk into a room, I love that. There might be a lady here or something like that, or somebody like that, and you're in a group, or you're talking to this target and this person's standing there and not saying anything. So many times I have gone and then talked to that person and realized that that's the person I should have been talking to in the first place. Whether you walk into an agent's office and it's the person behind the front desk, that's the person that handles the claims or whatever it is. And there's something I learned from my mentor, Dave Zierfoss, called the Tiberius Success Principle. And I forget that I do it, but I actually think I did it with...
What's it called?
Everybody here.
Tiberius.
It's 5 questions, but you never get through the first 3. And so the first one is where are you from originally? Okay. I think I asked you.
Yeah.
I know I asked you. And I think I asked Cody where he was from, right? And I just do it naturally. I don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
Where are you from originally? Okay. And then they'll tell you, oh man, I'm from here. Now we're in a conversation. All right. How did you get from there to, do you have family back there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the next question. So now this is where I'm from. They're talking about themselves. Now they're going to say, yeah, my mom's still here, but my dad came down here and blah, blah, blah. And I've got my sisters over here. And then now you're learning more about them. And then to get the journey filled in, you say, well, what got you from there to here today?
That's the third question.
Yeah. Oh, I went into the Navy, and then I was, on a fast attack sub, and then I, was stationed in Okinawa, and then I came back over here. And, they'll tell you what they were. Now, you don't even ask them what they're doing, because they tell you in that what they're doing. You ask 3 questions, you shut your mouth for 5 minutes, and now you know about this person, right? And it's just a simple way, because I'm uncomfortable talking to people. I would never walk up to somebody and say, hey, my name's Jeff, and this is what I do, and this is what I do, and this is what I do. I just, I would never even be able to get that out, So,
we can end it, man. That just made all the difference for me.
Yeah.
Did it?
No, seriously, because I think we're similar in that way. I know the importance of networking, but I hate going and starting a conversation. It's difficult for me.
Yeah.
Once you're in it, people can sense that you're sincere, you care about it. I felt the same way at Jeff. Jeff feels like he's not trying to big league me. He's curious about my life. Once you're in it, I feel like an object in motion tends to stay in motion. But what you're talking about is how do I go from nothing to
zero.
something? That's the heavy lift.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, it's just natural. And then, I get interested in what they tell you a story. We all love to hear stories. So you encourage them, you walk them along, and they tell you the story of their life.
But now you're not pretending to be interested. Now you're like, whoa, you're on a what and where in Okinawa? Tell me about that.
Dude,
now
you're like, your will is an exhaustible resource. And when you only have so much battery every day. So, right?
We always joke about Evan. At 6 o'clock, his battery's dead.
Yeah. So you only have so much battery. Your will is an exhaustible resource. So if you spend 2 hours in the morning, we talk about in football, having dirty eyes. If you're playing man to man and your eyes are in the backfield, you're going to get beat because you got dirty eyes. Mm-hmm. If you keep your eyes in the right keys, your feet will be where you're supposed to be. You'll maintain your angles of leverage. You'll make the play. So if you get dirty eyes in business, right, I should be working out, doing something positive and not burning all my dope, 60% of my day's energy on TikTok before 8 a.m., right? So, and I'm the same way. When I go into a group of people, because I am naturally an introvert, my battery starts going it's like Tesla in Minnesota. It's like my battery just starts screaming down, right? So I can't go and just, have all these tell everybody. I have to let them do the work. And then I can sit back and save my battery and be present and learn. And
there you go, Evan.
Okay, because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I have a franchise sales call at 3, 4, and 5, and I'm like, I got to give those guys everything I got. So
that's why you're not talking. I'm just kidding.
today, I'm just listening.
It's like jujitsu, man. You have to use their energy.
Yeah.
That story just happened to me last Friday. So my buddy invites me out to go golf at this tournament. Mm-hmm. I don't know anyone, and I walk in. He's not there yet, and so I just walk in. I sit at this table, and with 2 guys. Evan always jokes you can tell people that have money they have a different swag and look. In my opinion, these guys didn't. No offense if they're watching this. I sit down and we just start talking, whatever. Come to find out, this guy's worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
And I'm just
beware the guy in the t-shirt.
I'm going to golf with him. He invited me to Pennsylvania to go golf with him next week. And it's just all this, and it all stemmed because he was just a normal guy. Sat down and we just started talking.
Do not overlook people,
it's
man.
Crazy.
Yeah. Do not overlook people. People that are, some people just try too hard.
Yeah.
And, guys, people that are probably the people that you want in your circle based on my perception of how you roll is not the people that are going to be trying too hard.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell with you, Jason and I have talked a lot about this, and Evan, is that when you're just a good person and nice to everyone, the world just comes back to you somehow. And so that's why I hate when people that have achieved success, whatever that means for them, and they look down or they treat people differently. It's just man, you're missing out. I don't know how, but you're missing out.
Yeah. So is it about absolute dollars? Because if it was about absolute dollars, you would get in lots and lots of transactional businesses and you would just rake people.
Mm-hmm.
So is it about absolute dollars or is it about creating value? You make enough money if you do a good job.
Yeah.
you help enough people, like you'll make enough money. I mean, but like again, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I mean, I'm willing to put in the work.
Yeah. Cool. I want to. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to shift gears a little bit to franchising, but
Good.
no, keep going. We can cut and do whatever.
I think this might be a good shift into franchising. But,
Sure.
So one, I've only contextually heard the word discernment more in my faith than in my church. So I'm curious why the word discernment. And then two, what role has networking played in your current executive team versus posting for a position and finding a great executive? Like how many executives came from like because you knew this person and that's how you guys were connected versus your company made a post and that's how you got them?
Certainly, the majority of our executives were personally known or referred in, or the overwhelming majority. Our legal officer, I think, responded to a post.
Since the beginning?
Since the beginning. All of our brand presidents were personally known or referred in.
Yeah.
These are people that had great reputations in the franchise space. They built 500-unit Restoration One or Redbox, Redbox dumpsters, whatever that thing is. Or,
Just that little.
yeah, whatever that thing was. But they've all had chops and they'd all built companies before. And if we didn't know each other personally, we knew of each other.
Yeah.
And so when an opportunity came up, we might have a franchise development person that worked with this person. Our president of Window Hero now was referred in by one of our developers. So most people get referred in. And unfortunately, right now at Homefront Brands, we're an employer of choice. And we have lots and lots of people that are reaching out to try to see if there's a position available.
Wow.
And, so we're pretty good in terms of that. So most people are referred in now, but when we went for our legal officer early, I mean, we did that. John responded to a post but he certainly was able to check us out and see if we were the type of people.
Give like a brief rundown of what Homefront Brands is.
All right. So Homefront Brands is 5 different brands. We've got a roofing brand. We've got an exterior house washing, window cleaning, commercial building cleaning franchise. Mm-hmm. We've got a kitchen, bath, and closet franchise, mostly cabinetry, but we also do countertops and flooring. We have did I say roofing franchise?
Yeah.
We got a roofing franchise. Fencing. We got a fencing franchise. And then we have a temporary wall. So high-end rentable containment. So if you go to the airport and you see those white panels where they off construction, that's us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have we rent those walls and I know. Provide that as a service.
Style walls that block off.
Yeah, they're white panels and we can go up to like 30 feet and secure. We can put negative air in them. So we do a lot in medical, a lot in hospitals, stuff like that. We have 90 operators operating in 350 markets in that business.
So like with the fencing company, you go in and find a great fencing company and say, hey, I know how to franchise. You want to bring this under Homefront Brands? And then, okay.
New broom sweeps clean.
Okay. New brand.
New broom, man. New operator. We have some very successful franchisees that worked. One guy was in the fencing business before, but he mostly worked for other people. And he's one of our top performers. But by and large, man, these are brand new. We want them to learn the Homefront way.
Right. Mm. So, I mean, we've hung out, I don't know, 2 or 3 times now. We're in this world of franchising, Coconut.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't said it, but we keep getting the vibe is why do you have a home base and not just focus on the national side? Is that that's kind of the vibe that we get. I don't know if you're giving me that look.
What do you mean?
When we were discussing the dynamics between,
you guys are a little bit between two worlds because it's like you own one of your franchises. Right. You operate one of your franchises.
It's a big location.
In here is if you go start it, your goal isn't to have a home base like we do Arizona. Your goal is to create a system, a process, and a business to go franchise out and sell it. You don't have a home base Arizona where you're proving concept.
No, our founders though operate.
They do.
So we acquired these brands.
Okay.
And one was franchised with about 12 locations. A couple of them had started their franchise process, but didn't really get anywhere with it. And then a couple of them we just franchised.
Okay.
So Yeah, but ultimately, there's always a founding location,
Okay.
high revenue founding location. They understand the customer, they understand the business.
Shining beacon on a hill, proves the concept.
I guess that's what I was meaning at the beginning. Then you come in and you do your home.
We do our
thing to it.
Yeah, so there is a home location.
Okay.
It just we may or may not own it.
I love it, man. And like the volume there with revenue, like, are you allowed to say like kind of what you guys are doing there?
And so we acquired the brands mostly in 22.
Okay.
We platformed them on. We started awarding franchises in the first quarter of 23. So we started awarding like in April, May, June. We launched 70 businesses in the fourth quarter of 23.
Yeah, me
70.
Too. So you did what, 71?
And
72.
Yeah.
and we awarded 230 new owners in the course of 30 months. And we've got so our first year of trading with the cohort was really 24.
Yeah.
With some of them getting open, and this is our second year of trading. We'll do around 125 million. And it's small, but I mean, considering we have 206, we have a lot of people that are just kind of launching, right? So, we expect we expect to double, and
it's almost like the next doubling of your revenue isn't from twice as many franchises, but from each franchise doubling in gross revenue.
I mean, we got so much lift. I mean, we got 260 owners to work with, man, and
this
they're not
is
all
coming off of
maximum.
you doing 240 franchises in the restoration space.
Yeah, but that took me 9 years.
How embarrassing.
I read that stat. I'm like 240. That's cool. And then I really thought about it. I'm like, man, Evan and I have a goal of 80. Like he did 240. That's wild. Talked about the good, the bad with that franchising. What you learned from originally on that 240 location of restorations.
Great owners, good people. We're all broken. Everybody's, so many people are looking for a place that they can belong. Mm-hmm. They're in corporate America and they've gotten disenchanted with it. And, they got passed over for that promotion or they've been downsized. And, we have three real things we care about at Homefront Brands. And the first one is really financial security and economic freedom for families on Main Street, USA. Like you can look around the world and you see when Venezuela or somebody loses their middle class and all the money goes to a very few and none of the money goes to everybody else, like everything goes to crap. I mean, it is so critical that families own businesses and they take advantage of the tax code and accelerated depreciation. And they take advantage of the ability to manage their own time and do the thing and learn and be curious and do these things and build recurring revenue, build equity, build wealth, and let that be part of a whole wealth strategy, right? I mean, a business is just part. You should have a business. Maybe that business, now you can maybe buy some real estate with that business, right? Mm-hmm. And then you've got other things. So, people getting into their first business is really just that like step into that entrepreneurial suit, putting it on for the first time. And a franchise is great for that, especially if you join the right one. I mean, I do, I've taken 25 years of professional development. I spend over $200,000 a year now, just in affiliations and associations that I'm in. And I take all of what I've learned and all of what I am learning, and I deliver it to our franchise owners on something called an owners only, 90 minutes, second Tuesday night of every month, and across all the brands. It has nothing to do with your brand. It just has to do with you.
Cool.
You as a business owner, and bringing you things that, that you need.
Jeff, that reminds me of the question that Evan asked earlier, which is like, I'm getting DMs and DMs. It's DMs like,
yeah.
Join me second Tuesday of the month, man. 90 minutes. I'm going to answer all those. I'd love to serve you, but this is the best way that I can get to the most people.
We talked about maintaining just that little bit of control.
Yeah.
Like you set the schedule. Okay. It's your schedule. Your sales meetings we can talk all about that. But what was your original question though?
So there was twofold.
It was two.
We're all like squirrels.
I answered the second one.
And this is all, I'm just soaking all this in, especially in the franchising space, because I feel like every new franchise exposes. Like we had a guy come and train, and then he said, "Oh, how do I create a customer card here?" I'm like, "Oh, like he sat there, went through the training, but as far as like an SOP, as far as like click here, click here, click here, we didn't have it." And so like it's just been this accelerator for like let's perfect and let's get better. But the first question was contextually, I generally only hear the word discernment in a spiritual format.
Yeah,
and that's how I've always used it. And I understand it can be used in diverse ways, but for you growing up and, having all these life lessons and then comprising a book, watching Cameron go through building his book and the titles and what he wanted to do, like, why'd you settle on the word discernment?
So what I realized was the quality of your decisions and the actions that you take or don't take determine the quality of your life and the velocity of your business, hands down. Anything can go to zero. If you remember, Arthur Andersen had their little shredding incident. I mean, they were too big to fail. Yeah. Enron, too big to fail. Anything can go to zero and nothing's 100%. So your life is just this gas gauge, right? Of like the decision you make moves it a little bit closer to the target. No decision that you make is neutral. It's either going to move you closer to where you want to go, or it's going to move you farther away from where you want to go. And I usually write books when I come to the end of a chapter. So my first book was called Hey Coach.
Yeah.
And there are literally dozens of copies of this book in print. But
only most of which are inside the walls of your own home.
Yeah. But when I decided to franchise the business, which was when I decided to commit to the franchising, was driving through Atlanta in the middle of the night